God, what's the plan? Silence. Final year felt like I was being thrown into a big dark hole. But I thought I'd build a safe landing for myself. Sitting in my room with tears rolling down my cheeks, I asked the question out loud. God, what is the plan? I'd put everything into this basket. Years of work, money I didn't have, money my parents had believed in me enough to provide. I had planned my entire post-graduation life around this business succeeding. No backup, no safety net, just absolute certainty that this was going to work. The traffic numbers should have felt like victory. More people knew about the business now than ever before. But I sat in my room, waiting for exam results and clearance, staring at analytics that told a story of interest, but not adoption. And all I felt was a slow creep of dread. Interest wasn't enough, time was running out. Now, I started this business in second year, back when the idea felt less like a plan and more like a revelation. The problem was everywhere. Obvious, frustrating, something everyone just accepted as the way things are. I'd been complaining about it to a friend when it hit me. What if there was a simple way to? And there it was, complete, perfect, clear as day. I wasn't a developer, so I found one, explained the vision, watched my parents' money turn into lines of code, into a functioning web platform that did exactly what I had imagined. The first version launched and I waited for the world to realize what I had built. They didn't. People would visit the site, look around, maybe try one feature. Then, they would disappear back to the old, inconvenient way of doing things. I tried everything I could think of, social media, word of mouth, explaining the vision to anyone who would listen. Nothing stuck. Third year was more of the same. Different approaches, same outcome. The business existed, functionally sound, solving a real problem, and people kept ignoring it. I told myself, maybe it was just a marketing issue. I just had not found the right approach yet, but doubt had started creeping in. The answer came near the end of third year, and it was so obvious I almost laughed. Final year, I went all in. The timing was catastrophic in retrospect. Final year projects, exams, all the crushing weight of this determines your future, bearing down while I simultaneously tried to relaunch a business that had taken mountains of my parents' money. I stopped having time for anything that wasn't academics or business. I started looking like I was suffering, because I was. The stress carved itself into my face, into the way I moved, into the exhausted edge in my voice when people asked how I was doing. But it was working. Traffic increased. People who had never heard of the platform before were finding it, exploring it. Some even attempted to use it. After years of silence, I was finally seeing movement. But the problem was time. And now the feedback that finally came in, the honest, brutal feedback, revealed something worse. The site was hard to use, the interface was confusing, the design was, in the words of one particularly honest user, ugly. All this time, I had been so focused on what the platform did that I had been blind to how it did what it did. Second semester exams ended and I stayed back, and that's when the reality settled in with its full weight. I had put everything into this basket. Years of work, money I didn't have, money my parents had believed in me enough to provide. I had planned my entire post-graduation life around this business succeeding. And now I was staring at an app that worked but didn't work, that solved the problem people didn't quite care enough about to overcome a clunky interface, that existed in this liminal space between failure and success without landing cleanly in either. God, what is the plan? Silence. The silence wasn't dramatic at first. It was just absence. I prayed. I asked. I waited. Nothing. Days passed. I sat in my room, waiting for my results to be out, asking the same question over and over again. What is the plan? Just show me the plan. Show me what the plan is. Now, God has always been my friend. We talk. He'd given me peace about this business. I'd been certain it would work. So where was he now? The silence felt personal, like being ignored by your closest friend during the moment you need them most. I kept praying, but the prayers got sharper, more demanding. You told me this was going to work. I heard you. So what's happening? What's the plan? Why? Why are we here? Nothing. I'd put everything into this, my parents' money, my time, my future, based on what I thought you told me. So what's the plan? Still, nothing. The anger built slowly. I wasn't just frustrated about the business anymore. I was offended, legitimately angry at God in a way I'd never experienced before. He was supposed to be my friend. Friends don't give you the silent treatment during crisis. And underneath the anger was something worse. Doubt. Had I actually heard him? Or had I just convinced myself I had? Was I one of those delusional people who mistake their own desires for divine directions? If I couldn't trust what I thought I had heard about the business, how could I trust anything else I thought came from him? The doubt infected everything. It got into every corner of my mind, made me question every sense of direction I'd ever had. I went through the motions of waiting for my results, going through clearance, then packing eventually, preparing to go home. All while carrying this enormous unspoken offense that God apparently had no interest in addressing. What is the plan? What is the plan? What is the plan? By the time I go home, I wasn't asking anymore, I was demanding and getting the same answer, nothing. My dad noticed immediately. We were sitting together when he finally said, "You want to talk about it?" I told him everything, the business, the certainty I had felt, the money, the years of work, the silence, the offense I had taken at God's apparent indifference to my crisis. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, he was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Go spend time with him." I blinked. What? Take a retreat. Just you and God. Read the Bible. Pray. I stared at him. "Dad, I just told you I'm angry at God and you want me to go and hang out with him." "Yes." "That makes no sense. When you're upset with someone, you don't fix it by avoiding them." "But I don't want to read my Bible right now." "Then don't read it. Listen to the audio Bible. Just be there. Be present with him." I almost argued, but something in his calm certainty made me give in. "Alright, fine. I'll try," I muttered. Day one of the retreat was aggressively silent. I opened my Bible app and pressed play on the audio and let it wash over me without really listening. The words felt familiar. I'd grown up with these stories, but they felt distant, like messages meant for someone else. I didn't pray, God didn't speak. We existed in the same space like two people after a fight, neither willing to break first. Day 2 was the same, except softer somehow. The anger hadn't disappeared, but I found myself actually listening to the words instead of just letting them play as background noise. Still didn't pray, still didn't feel anything profound, but something was shifting. Day 3, he ambushed me. The audio was playing through a passage about trusting God, one I'd heard dozens of times, when the question dropped into my mind with perfect clarity. "Do you trust me?" I froze. It wasn't audible, it wasn't dramatic, it was there, undeniable, patient, waiting for an answer. I wanted to say yes, of course I trust you, that's not the problem. But the words stuck in my throat, because underneath all the anger and confusion, there was something else. Fear. Fear that if I trusted him completely, I would have to let go of control. Fear that his plan might not look like my plan. Fear that trust meant surrendering the will I had been gripping for years. I sat with the question for what felt like hours. Then, quietly, I said, I don't know if I do. And just like that, something broke open. The memory arrived vivid like a video starting mid scene. I was 7 years old, fighting with my brother over who got to sit in the front seat of my dad's car. Both of us arguing our case, neither willing to give in, until my dad turned around with that expression that meant he was about to tell me something. You know where rich people sit when they're in a car? He asked. I shook my head. No. The seats in the back, they let the driver drive them. The fight ended instantly. I climbed into the back seat with pride. The memory faded, and I was back in my room, tears running down my face, understanding washing over me like sunrise. When he spoke again, it wasn't a question. I need you to get in the back seat. Uh, what? No, we're not doing that here. You've been gripping the steering wheel of your life with both hands, and I'm asking you to let go. Get in the back seat, let me drive. But what will I be doing? I can't. Like, what will I be doing there? I will just sit and panic. When you sit in the back seat of a dad's car, do you panic? Do you question every turn he makes? Do you demand to know the routes before you relax? No, I admitted quietly. I just trust him. Do whatever I feel like doing at the back seats. Exactly. That's what I'm asking for. Trust me to get to where you need to go. Trust that I know the route better than you. Trust that you will love the destination. Remember, I told you I'll bring you to an expected end. But I don't know the plan, I said, finally voicing the question that had haunted me for weeks. I need to know the plan. Like, I really do need to know. No, he said gently. You need to trust the driver. This is really hard for me, I said. I know. Okay, I'll get in the back seats. What will you do back there? I thought about all those car rides, reading, resting, looking out the window, trusting that my dad knew where we were going. So I said, slowly, whatever my hands find to do, I'll do it well. And if you need me to do something specific, you will tell me, right? Yes, I promise. And you will love where we're going. Alright. The offense didn't disappear immediately. Anger don't work that way. But it loosened. I'm sorry, I said, for taking offense, for thinking you abandoned me, for trying to control everything. I forgive you. About the business though, I trailed off. Yeah, about that. You took my idea and ran with it. You forgot to keep me in the process. You got so focused on your vision of success that you stopped checking in with me about the execution. Yeah, that's actually very true. I'm sorry. I am sorry. I haven't given up on it yet though, I said. I still believe it's going to work. Good. But next time, let's build it together. Really together. Deal. Alright, deal. The days that followed felt different. Lighter, somehow. Not because my circumstances had changed. The business still needed massive work. I still didn't have a clear plan for after graduation. But I stopped gripping the steering wheel. I started finding things I could do. I learned design. I went back to the things he had told me over the years, promises, directions, gentle nudges. I started doubting. One by one, I let myself believe them again. Not because I had evidence, not because I could see how they would work out, but because I was learning to sit in the back seat. Eventually, I will unpause the business planning, fix the UI/UX issues I'd been blind to, start asking at each step, is this the right direction? Here's what I know now. I'm still learning it, by the way. Trust isn't passive. It's not resignation or giving up. It's the active choice to believe that someone else sees what you can't, knows what you don't, and is taking you somewhere worth going. It's getting in the back seat, not because you can't drive, but because you recognize that there's a better driver. It's doing whatever your hands find to do with the excellence and intention, not frantic control, but faithful presence. It's being okay with not having the blueprint. The silence I experienced wasn't absence, it was patience. God waiting for me to stop demanding answers and start learning to trust the answer Himself. My business has not become a success story yet. I still don't know exactly how it unfolds, but I'm learning that the best place for my life isn't in my own white knuckled grip, it's in His hands. The view from the back seat is better than I expected, actually. To my mom and dad, thank you for supporting me when my dreams looked like disasters. Thank you for believing in me enough to invest in what I couldn't see yet clearly. Thank you for pointing me back to the truth when I was lost in confusion. I love you and I appreciate you more than words can say. And to everyone listening, to everyone who is gripping their own steering wheel right now, terrified to let go. I get it. I feel you. The fear is real. The need for control feels like survival. But I promise, the view from the back seat is better than you think. Trust the driver. He knows where he's going. If you've had an experience that taught you something profound, send me a mail at storiesthahero@gmail.com, because your story could be the light that guides someone else. Oh, and by the way, if you're a designer or a creative looking for a professional website portfolio, I've got a customizable template designed specifically for you. Check the link in the description. If you like this video, like and subscribe, and hey, don't forget to hit the notification button so you don't miss a thing. Merry Christmas in advance! Until next time.